Very interesting text with regard to the Herald article on the dysfunction of the New England Patriots this past season, which I will get to in a moment. Different perspective. But this is Frank from New Hampshire. Frank.
Good morning. Thank you for taking the call.
Frank, did you go to the New Hampshire Road Show last year?
No, I'm on the hook for this year coming up.
I'm thinking of last year we were in Keene. I think we were in Keene, and we were in where was the other one? Claremont or wherever the YMCA.
It began with an L.
I'm thinking of. You know what I like in New Hampshire? I
don't know.
It began with an L. I like the
This show begins with an L. Losers.
I like Portsmouth as a potential road show.
Oh, I love that.
Do you like that?
I love Portsmouth.
I'll go to all your New Hampshire shows next year. I'm going to go to all of them.
Okay. All right. What are you calling about?
I'm calling to talk about, I don't know if this is an old saying or not, but everyone's got a boss. And I think the new phrase should be, everyone has bosses who you're responsible to. Belichick failed. They were terrible last year, and I think it's because of him. So when you're responsible to a person or a group of people and you fail, you're going to hear it from them. And like Chris said, right, if these were anonymous sources, but no one's debunking them, then they were probably true, and I'm guessing they were. So, you get what you deserve, and I think, they've made appropriate responses to what they did last year, and I'm looking forward to the new product this coming year. So that's where I stand.
And to be candid, Greg, this is how Belichick's teams have been in the absence of a Hall of Fame quarterback. If you want to use one word to describe his tenure in Cleveland, it would be dysfunctional.
But Wiggy said,
but that's not true, though.
It's not just the absence of Tom Brady.
Right.
It's the absence of leaders in general that you used to have on that team, like what Wiggy brought up, Willie McGinnis,
right,
Teddy Bruschi,
right,
Mike Vrabel. You name the player,
right? But even though Greg, it goes because Curtis, what he just said is not 100% true, because in 2020 there were never no issues about dysfunction going on, even though it was very, the season wasn't very good. I think one of the things we talked about is how much they rallied, and I think we were talking about the Jets game, the last game of the year. There was no chance of making the playoffs, and the emotions and the energy of the team, it just looked like
Cam effect.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I don't want to put it on him, but it just,
I wouldn't call that team functional.
But there was no dysfunction.
They lost 38-9.
But there was no reports coming out of the locker room.
That's
there was
all I'm saying.
But here's the situation. You remember when a great coach leaves a program, right? And they go to Notre Dame and they leave a school. That school still wins, just like the 90s Cowboys won a Super Bowl with Barry Switzer after Jimmy Johnson had built the wagon. They won another Super Bowl, but then there was a steady decline, because there's enough people there that know how to win to keep it afloat, but eventually, without the person that created it, it dissipates. That's what is going on here.
Let me ask you about this. 617 text during the break on the Subaru of New England text line. Find your authorized Subaru retailer at SubaruofNewEngland.com. There's nothing that shows where we are as a society more than this Herald article. All millennials do is whine about how bad their work culture is.
Yeah, that's true.
Holy smokes.
That's true.
So is this article more a function of, is it a symptom of a certain age of people who, rather than bear down and go to work regardless of what the surroundings are like or the culture is it more that than it is a dysfunction with the New England Patriots?
As a millennial, and I don't know how Shime feels about this, I think that we all saw the generations before us complain. Once we became adults, we said, well, I don't want to live that life, so I'm going to change the way that I go about work and whatever. That's good and bad, and I think right now we're seeing the bad of it. I agree that millennials, I'm a millennial, we all complain constantly about
everybody complains. This isn't a new this is the
right.
But we're actually doing something about it.
But everybody on the New England Patriots Patriots didn't complain publicly. That's Wiggy's point.
Yeah, and I think that's because, and we were young, we were 20-somethings. The difference is, I think it's more about how society has given everybody this. Well, if you feel a certain way, then you should bring it up and you should tell everybody. And that's that is more about society. It's not about the age. We had guys in that locker room. You can't police the locker room like you used to when we played. Well, because if you do, somebody's going to go to HR and they're complaining. You can't even haze guys anymore. And I'm not talking like
you can't even haze guys.
No, that's a shirt. No,
you can't even haze guys anymore.
But I'm not talking about I'm not talking about crazy hazing. I'm talking about like,
what do you mean?
I'm talking about like taping a guy up to a goalpost and dumping water on him. You can't even do that no more. I'm talking about shaving an eyebrow or shaving a guy's head. Like, I'm not talking about like.
You can't do that anymore.
But that's my point. We are so soft that you can't even tape a guy up and throw him in the cold tub.
Yeah.
I will not rest until we can haze again.
Oh, sorry. Right again. Lebanon. That's where we went. New Hampshire. Thank you.
Yeah, Lebanon. It did start with an L, yes.
Millennial needs
and so that's the problem.
But like in the Twitch chat, Cleo182024 says, Wiggy, your generation had respect for their elders and their supervisors.
Yeah, we did have respect, and there was a little bit of fear in there, and I think a lot of it is because, and when we even had Ty on, we talked about it. We had guys that would police that locker room. So if there was a little fisticuffs that took place in the locker room, hey, guess what? We handled it like that.
Okay, that's a little revisionist history, considering Ty Law said that Bill Belichick lies to feed his family.
Right, but that was about the money situation.
Okay,
but he never let that stuff leak out. He
told Michael Smith of the Boston Globe.
But that was after the fact, Curtis.
No, it was when he was still here. He came back after.
But he made a point to say, here's how I feel. I got no issues with that. If Mac Jones comes out and goes to a reporter, here's how I feel, then that's one thing. But that's about money, right? Ty Law never came out and go, oh, I respect
Bill, but he effed us.
Yeah, and I don't like what we're doing. I don't like the defense that Romeo's calling.
Well, Kendrick Bourne, you agree, Wiggy, these contracts are year to year with the exception of the quarterback guaranteed dollars.
Yeah.
If Kendrick Bourne isn't playing, well, that's about money. He's complaining because he wants to be on the field, because if you're on the field, you can catch passes and make more money.
He's not complaining about money because he got money. He's complaining about the role that he has.
Right. I think it's interesting to talk about whether this article came about because of the massive dysfunction that there was, or because we live in a period of time in which people express themselves publicly about how horrible their work conditions are.
And it's the latter. And that's why my lead a couple days ago was, can Bill no longer coach these guys? Because when you look, and I brought up,
because he's not the happy, feel good kind of Sean McDermott kind of guy.
Yeah, he's not the guy that's rocking like Nick Sirianni, who's rocking the Dreamcatcher gold chain after the game, or rocking this T-shirt. And it's like, okay, he can kind of relate to how we're living and how we're feeling.